Whoa. Happy new moon in Leo with Venus retrograde and the sun. And quite mindful of Saturn and its placement, if I don't say so myself. As far as astrologically, we are working with a lot of opposing forces on Mercury and Mars in Virgo, which the moon will be in shortly. What message does that bring with us? I mean, with everything that we've learned in Venus retrograde and continue to learn, with Leo as a new face, a new confidence, a new era. And that's so funny, actually. To me, there's been, I mean, everybody's kind of had their transformational states and are moving toward one thing or another. This marks a very poignant first step in that direction. But let's not be easily swayed or easily distracted, or easily shoved off of our course, lest we find ourselves with first steps over and over again. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna pull some cards. I want to see what the moon. What's up with the moon? Because everything's changing. Okay. Much like we are chilling. I'll move this thing back. Much like we are chilling. We're going to take some deep breaths together and see what this moon has to offer us. New moon in Leo. Take a deep breath in. And deep breath out. In and out. Deep breath in and out. Ooh, that's funny. That was a lot of feeling. I don't know. What are we offering from this poem? I feel like there's a sacrifice to some degree, in what we give, which is a reoccurring theme that we get. You only get what you put in, or you only get what you put out. You only get out what you put in. I'm pretty sure that's the phrase, but you know what I mean. But there is something blissfully rewarding about that. I felt very stroked by an energy that's close to love, or that's close to unconditional love, which you can call that a lot of things, and that can come in a lot of forms. Whatever is godly or godlike to you, is unconditional love in a higher sense. But unconditional love comes from many things, and nature is one thing that I think loves us unconditionally, in the sense that it also knows best and will show that. But what a blissful little tingle. Okay. Oh, okay, beautiful. I love this. Oh, that's so nice. Okay. Where do I start? Bottom of the deck is the High Priestess. This is very much like the paragon of everything, like the pinnacle of everything that we've learned with Venus in retrograde, how to love and adore ourselves, what to do with those emotions, all of the ways in which we find bliss, euphoria, peace, etc., etc., etc. And all of the things that we've talked about in the past with Venus and its retrograde. The culmination of that is, like I said, like a foot forward. Leo is your best foot forward. Leo is your front face, your confidence. Your confidence. The High Priestess is also your union and your knowledge, and where your intuition and your brain sort of like link together, or your experience suddenly is very embodied and perception no longer matters. It's a very authentic place to be, which is funny. I've also been exploring that. But for the three, the Ace of Wands, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Three of Wands. So there's a lot of fiery energy, which again maybe is the opposing forces that I talked about before. There's a lot of friction, and with everything moving into Virgo, that can come with a lot of preference and a lot of the ways that we sort of hold ourselves into not being able to bounce back, not being able to I guess like be resilient through things, because that has a quality of fluidity through tribulation toward triumph, if that makes sense. But we can be too rigid in sometimes that need flexibility. But with all of this fire energy, if you are not too rigid with yourself and are very welcoming to the spectrum of emotions that we can have with opposing forces, and with sort of this looking back at ourselves and reoccurring cycles and all the struggle that can be, or the our unwillingness to sort of face those things, that fire energy, when directed well with this Wheel of Fortune, can carry you to Three of Wands, beautiful places. Carry you to balanced places, and places where you feel safe, on the edge even. Like you can culminate this knowing, and then be able to have excitement and safety, and exploration and safety, and grounding, and stability, so much so that the edge no longer seems so scary, or the edge no longer seems so daunting, which just takes some familiarity and some fucking trust. At the end of the day, it's a lot of faith in yourself, and a lot of like faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in you and your knowledge and your bodily knowledge and your awareness of self, and faith in that you believe that this is also bigger than you, and that's kind of a driving force. The motivators that we have. This exists in many forms, and beyond just finding any kind of religious thing to trust in that. Oh, funny. To trust in that second aspect, like trust yourself, trust in God, trust in self, trust in the universe, trust in self, trust in science. All of those things, absolutely party on. Although, understand that God is a flaw. Rather than some dude telling us what to do. But that is my opinion, and we're just talking about the cards. The Three of Wands is definitely about dreaming. It's definitely about, there's definitely creation, there's definitely dreaming. There's something quite erotic about this, actually. It's something on the landscape of, which is, okay, I'll say this, don't get caught up in it being about somebody, and like, oh, is this the day they realize? No, that's not the kind of changes. But there is perhaps an aura or an ether or an air about why you like somebody, or why those things attract you, or those situations attract you, so that you can glide on toward the idea, rather than attracting or attaching to a physical person, or physical entity. Because longing knows no bounds, but also dreaming knows no bounds. So one can be very much an abyss, and one can be very much an open sky of opportunity. The Wheel of Fortune is very much that. It's momentous, shoves ahead, shoves ahead. But it is all connected, and it is all intertwined, and it does all have a purpose. And sometimes we don't necessarily see the why, but we can work on, or like the how. But it's like building a puzzle. Oh, sorry, I'm like also peeling a scab because I don't know what else to do with myself. It's like piecing a puzzle together where, you know, you get all of these pieces and you're like overwhelmed by, and all of these changes can be very overwhelming. And when we're trying to make whole of the picture, or, you know, see the big picture, those instances can be very overwhelming. But like with the puzzle, you build the corners and you sort of establish, you know, your boundaries. You establish your safe space, and you sort of create permission boundaries for your energy, for your feelings, for what it is that you're dreaming, what this Three of Wands is longing or fantasizing for. This is running away with the circus, which is a really fun dream. That ponytail is also, I think, very much an homage to like the Fool path, and following that path, and following sort of directly into your desire, directly into, you know, like where Neo gets his shit, following your desire directly into your imagination. And that is perhaps an unclear path sometimes, but a beautiful path to explore, and a path that will, at the end of the day, feel very authentic and very true to you, especially in a very this or that situation. That would be more so the momentum that you want to follow. And with great direction and great creation, like this is very much a life-giving point of view, a life-giving perspective. And I think the Ace of Wands often, to me, speaks creation in like a tangible form, but that can be new ideas of self as well. I think especially with Leo, sometimes that has new identity written all over it, and, you know, new embracing of written all over it. And that, I think, is ultimately the beauty that the High Priestess feels when she's at her best. When she's well-aligned, and when well-aligned, of course. I mean, it wouldn't pop up if she wasn't, right? In between dark and light, and in between knowing and unknowing, and sort of existing in between the boundaries. I love this, like, I don't know, rainfall or like beaded curtain behind her or something, because it's very much about the space in between, and that altogether presents a message. Like it almost is reading like Braille to me, in which case it's about sensation, and it's about feeling, and it's about intention that exists within the space of, and it's also a very sensual card, I think, because of that. Somebody that really is very keen on their passions, and is very cradled by their emotions as well, and not honored and protected by their emotions rather than subject to. And I know it's much more common to feel like you're a victim to your emotions than the owner of, but perhaps there's something there to explore them. Oh, High Priestess. Okay. One more time. Much like we are hanging out together. We'll take a deep breath in and deep breath out 3 times. Deep breath in and exhale. Deep breath in and exhale. One last deep breath in and exhale. That was really lovely because I felt something everywhere else. It was almost like rather than be focused on action, I was focused on presence. And it existed everywhere else rather than just one place or another. Two kings. King energy. Ooh, okay. I do feel like this brings more like a teasing melody. With the potential and like with the like taunting toward like very intense ringing and like change and what have you. King of Swords, King of Wands. King of Wands at the bottom of the deck. King of Fire at the bottom of the deck. Beautiful. King of Clubs is what it is. But, you know, my brain. It's also inverted, so where this could be, it's kind of exactly the, okay, too much. It's the exact opposite of what it normally comes up as. It's very much clearing a path. It's very much like onward and upward, and like beyond the idea of steps, it's like reaping through all of that. It's almost like sliding up or gliding up, uplifting rather than like trudging through, which is a very like scary point to be sometimes in our lives. But at the end of the day, sometimes you really just gotta like fucking jump or cross that line or whatever it is. And that comes down again to where do we find the ability to have faith in ourselves, the ability to structure ourselves so that we can have more faith in ourselves. Any first thing that you do is always kind of like an ego hit, and the idea of falling is always going to scare your brain more than it's going to scare your heart. So you have to kind of inch through and allow it to expand so that you can fully experience these things with trust in yourself. Gosh, the way in which that's come up for me in like this week is learning a new form of dance, and in an instance where my feet are off the ground and I'm, you know, elevated and there's momentum, there is a moment where you hesitate because there's fear. And I like literally have a painting about this because of suspension. Where losing the ground can be a very scary thing. Change can be a very scary thing, but it can be really exciting when you trust that you are going to end up in a better place, or like trust that you are going to do your damnedest to make sure that you allow yourself to experience new things without fear. Allow yourself to experience all of your emotions without fear of being judged. Like this exists in this idea exists in many forms, and in many circles, and in many ways in which we exist in the world, and validate ourselves in the world. And perhaps that's what a lot of this fire energy is going to be, is like our will to validate ourselves to ourselves, And that's maybe where the opposition can come in too, is when people challenge that, understand that it does not invalidate you as a entity. Sometimes those perceptions can feel very daunting and quite overwhelming. But at the end of the day, I think that perception is just that. And the dauntingness of it is an opportunity for inner accountability, and more inner knowingness. And that thought can change how we deal with fears of being perceived as well. I digress. I'm very happy with that card though. What a good under the deck vibe. But 6 of swords, or spades, 6 of spades, 4 of spades, King of spades. Oh, all spades. Ooh, how eerie. Not eerie because of those cards, just because of what I think it sounds like. Together though, King of spades is very much about clearing this path, and maybe that's clearing ideas that prevent this from skyrocketing, right? But these two is very much rather than like just because this is inverted doesn't mean that we're not protecting with this boundary, right? But like what that does open up to is sort of an emanation, rather than us protecting and sort of creating this barricade or this like fence around. It can be an emanation from, as if we place out all these 6s, right? We've got walls, we've got everybody's partnered up, all of these things. Like there's no room for growth, but we can flip it on its head and understand that you can protect. It's like if you love something, let it go. Not let it go, but like you can't put a butterfly in a paper bag and expect it to live. Sometimes the best way to love an idea of yours or some understanding of something is to sort of set it free and let it grow with that love. Allow it to be an emanation of the original point of your understanding or affection of, if that makes sense. Allow it to be open to experience as well. And maybe that's where we allow ourselves to open to experiences, understanding that everything around us has a magnitude of experience too, and it desires its own space to grow as well. But this isn't like protecting or cleaning or any of that. It's more like a presentation, and it's more like an unveiling. And this 4 of spades as well is sort of like when we fill the space with so much energy, so much you-ness, so much goodness, so much new idea-ness or what have you, that you can almost take off some of the safety belts. You can almost take off the training wheels, I suppose, and allow for yourself to really take a chance. Take a chance on yourself, take a chance on love, take a chance on... There's a song about that, but I'm not going to sing it. Don't take a chance on trouble. Trust your gut, always. But this is very much to take a chance on yourself, and Swords energy also has a lot to do with, or Spades energy has a lot to do with mental atmosphere. So this is very much delineating in number, is a clearing, is a trusting, is an allowing for bonds to grow. Because they're becoming thicker or more viscous in this 4, I suppose. But this King of Spades is clearing a mental path for this King of Wands to erupt through. So clear out old ideas of you and any old expectations of you, because honey, we are in for a new version of it, a new era, a new everything. Do you hear that? Yes, and I think that's also very, like, even if, you know, everything in your life seems boring, or seems like it's going to be the same, there's a new opportunity for you to understand and move with yourself in a more confident, more striking way, and maybe that's more efficient for you or what have you, but a more embodied way, a more desire driven way, in the sense of pure tantric desire, not just the things that we want in this world. But yeah, I'm very excited for these two figures and the way that they can grow. And this Three of Wands has only ever been a dream come true. So, with that being said, party on. Happy new moon. I love you dearly, and I hope that this pivotal time in the center of the year feels like a graceful sway for you, and if anything, invigorates you with a lust for life and a lust for yourself. Party on. Love ya. Be safe. Mwah.